Hello, sisters. Welcome to the season 2 of the Rising Feminine Online Temple, which is a 7 days initiation for women to journey back to their true essence. My name is Jonita D'Souza, your feminine lifestylist and also the keeper of this online temple space, where I have gathered visionaries from around the world to join forces and initiate you in your authentic feminine. And a big part of my work as a feminine lifestylist is to invite women to indulge into everyday small simple rituals so that they learn how they can nurture, nourish, and fulfill themselves in their daily lives despite being busy. So as part of this online temple, I invite you to create a sacred, safe container for yourself. Maybe light a candle, grab your journal, make yourself some yummy tea, but gift yourself the time to receive the offerings of this online temple space, because each one of the teachers have a very special message for your initiation. And joining us today is Charu Sila, where she is going to guide us through reparenting yourself, which is a true art of motherhood. And Charu has been a dear sister and a very beautiful colleague. I turn to Charu when I feel like, okay, I need a listening wall, and Charu is always there. I'm so happy that she can come on this online temple and share her medicine. So before we start our conversation today, I want to read a little bit about Charu so that you get an idea of her sacred work too. Charu Sila is an international renowned transformational energy healer working with clients from around the world. She has the capacity to see the whales and to see through the whales and uncover the blocks that are holding you back from fulfilling your divine purpose. Her loving and compassionate presence brings the safety that your soul needs to trust the process of release, and her confidence in the power of authentic self-expression gives you the permission you need to shine as the completely unique and beautiful light you were born to be. Charu Sila is committed to creating transformation in every being that crosses her path and to inspire the souls that are ready to embrace the incredible gifts that they are here to share. Charu, welcome.
Thank you so much. Such a delight to be here with you and to be here with everyone who's joining us in this online temple space. What a beautiful creation you have brought forth.
Yes, and thank you so much for coming in this temple space for the second time around. I know you were part of season 1 as well, and I had really amazing responses from the women who witnessed your meditation with the self-love and the mirror meditation. The responses were so beautiful that I had to bring you back. I love talking to you, you know that.
Yeah, exactly. We could talk all day, so that's fine.
Yeah, we can forget about the interview and then just carry on. But before we got into this conversation, I pulled up a goddess oracle card. I tuned into our energies and the topic that you're going to present today. And really interesting goddess showed up. Goddess Freya.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I think she is a Nordic goddess, and she is like this bold, fierce, feminine goddess. And I was thinking, like, oh my goodness, what do you feel about it? What do you feel, or do you feel any resonance with this goddess in this moment?
Yes, I feel that's interesting that you'd ask that. I feel that the fierce feminine is really needed right now. You know, we have been so conditioned as women for so long to be in the yin side of the feminine, to be only receptive, to be only submissive, to be only the holders and the keepers, and not to be the warrioresses, and not to be the ones who stand up and set boundaries and express our strength and our power. And so to me, that really speaks of the work that even both of us are doing, which is really about nurturing the feminine and acknowledging that she shows up in so many different ways. And that for us to really become whole within ourselves as women and as expressions of the divine feminine, we have to have this capacity and this willingness to embrace all of the aspects. And Yes, absolutely. Embracing the fiercer aspects, or the ones that set boundaries, can feel really challenging. And yet they're also the doorways to fulfillment, you know, to our radiant aliveness in expression out in the world. So yeah, I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, and it's also, for me, it's also resonating with your adventurous side, you know, because you are pretty adventurous, traveling around the world and doing crazy things.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Charu, I know about your work, but I'm sure the women watching here will be interested to know, how did you get on to doing this sacred work?
It came very strongly at quite a young age, actually. When I was just 21, I bought a one-way ticket to India. Didn't know anything about it, but it was just such a strong heart pull. While I was there, I studied my first healing training. And at the end of that healing training, it was like, oh, I mean, tears. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Just this absolute knowing, this is what I'm here for. And until that moment in my life, I had felt so outside of the pack, you could say. You know, I was at school with people who knew they wanted to be lawyers or doctors or teachers. They had this clear path in mind, and I was lost. You know, I didn't know anything. And so that moment of absolutely landing in this knowing that this is what my life is for was such a huge blessing. And then, of course, it takes time to unfold. That 21 is very young to be knowing even how to serve other people or how to work. So there was obviously more training and more self-training, learning to work with myself. And as my work with clients and my one-to-one work has unfolded, you could say, that has brought to the surface this recognition that the feminine and the lack of self-love are two of the core challenges, I would say, that are facing society today. The lack of love for the feminine and the lack of self-love within the feminine. And so that has unfolded this work now, where the exploration of how to really receive the incredible gift that each of us is and express it in the world feels like the constant inquiry and the constant exploration with everyone that I'm engaged with.
Yeah, and I must say that every time I speak with you, I get reminded, and I think, you know, it's also your presence. You always remind me of what a gift I am, you know. So you always, you know, reflect that back, and it obviously shows from the work you have done for yourself. Otherwise, you won't be able to do it for anyone.
Yeah, it's the key. This is that beautiful mirroring, that until we have remembered our own divinity, we really can't fully reflect the divinity to others. And that's how we, especially within the feminine, I have to say this, I think that we as women are very much anchored in this reflective quality, because we have that yin side to us, which is receptive. We really benefit from this interaction, reflection, engagement with each other, because that's where we remember ourselves. It's so much harder when we're just by ourselves somewhere.
So coming to our conversation for today, when you say reparenting yourself, I'm really curious, and I'm really curious as to see what your perspective is, and why do we really need to reparent ourselves?
Yeah. So what I've discovered as I've been working with myself and with others is that when we come in, our dedication, in that moment that we choose, the soul chooses to come in, we come in purely from love. Our hearts are just like, I want to express the love that I am. I want to be the love that I am. But we come into this human world, we're this tiny creature, totally vulnerable, totally dependent, totally intimate. And we are surrounded by adults who have shut down those qualities within themselves. They're at a gap from us. They won't meet us where we are. And so that journey of being a human infant, even in the best family, it's not to say that families aren't doing a wonderful job. It's almost like part of the human condition that the gap is just too big. Mm. The tiny, tiny infant, we don't remember being in that state as adults, and then the adults caring for that infant. And so even with the best parenting, that love that we are often gets twisted and squashed. We get told that, well, your love will be valuable if you're skinnier, or your love will be valuable if you're a different color or a different shape, or if you're a sports person, or if you're an artist. Like, your love isn't wanted quite the way it is, and you need to change in order for it to be accepted by the particular family or the particular culture that you grow up in. And as far as I can tell, no one gets away from this. This is the experience of every single human child. And no matter how perfect the mother, because it's two different people, the mother and the child are two different people, they'll never understand each other perfectly. So when we grow into adulthood ourselves, what we discover is that there's only one true parent that the child within us wants, and that's ourselves. Because we know ourselves intimately. We know the totally unique ways of seeing the world, of experiencing, of understanding language. And so that connection with the inner infant and the inner adult is really kind of the biggest gift we can give ourselves. It's returning to that innocence of the infant while maintaining the wisdom of the adult. But what often happens in our journey is that we, in our innocent love and our innocent desire to please our parents, we twist ourselves. And so as we come into adulthood, we talk to our own inner children the way the adults in our lives talk to us. Maybe punishing, maybe judgmental, maybe evaluating. Not really listening, not really receiving everything about that child and validating it before helping to educate it. It's not that the child doesn't need some support. So in this process of reparenting ourselves, we discover the most profound relationship, which is a relationship of self to self, and that ultimately connects us to the divinity within us, which is that innocent child that wants to grow into the radiant adult, but got stuck along the way.
Yeah, so how can one begin doing this? How can one begin reparenting themselves?
Yeah, this is the key question. And this is what I'll be addressing in our exercise today, and then through the exercises that I'm offering to your community as well. Because in the beginning, we really need to be gentle and go tenderly, because oftentimes the children within us, the infants within us, are really hurt by the way that we have parented ourselves so far, which has been like blaming, self-critical, judgmental, kind of tearing ourselves apart, right? This part's acceptable, you're allowed to be this part, but this part, no, we have to get rid of that. And so there can be this sense of inner division, and the child, when we first reach out to that child within us, the child can be angry or hurt. And so it's definitely a gentle and compassionate attitude that we need to start with, to recognize, like, sort of humbly, I'm so sorry I perpetuated what those adults were doing. I'm so sorry that I have allowed myself to criticize you, or to judge you, or to not listen to you, to not validate you. And so we start with this gentleness, this compassion, this kindness to, you could say, open the doorway. And then once the doorway is open, we start to learn how that child within us functions. We start to learn what she needs, what she's asking for, and ultimately what wisdom she's carrying. Because what you'll discover as you journey in this is that underneath every single contraction, we could say, under every false belief is a total desire to protect you and protect the love that you are, to keep it safe, so that when you grow into adulthood, that love is still available to share with the world. So this reparenting process goes from starting with this gentleness and this compassion to sometimes amazement at the incredible wisdom that this child self is carrying, but just didn't know how to express because she was a child.
So I'm curious to dive into the exercise right away, because
Yes.
I want to experience that for myself too in this moment.
Yes, I think that would be really wonderful. So I know that Jonita already invited you to make yourself a safe space, but just right now, give yourself permission to be really comfortable. If you need to change position, if you need to give yourself a cozy blanket, start with the physical nurturing. This is one of the easiest ways that your child self will feel that you are connecting with her. Very often in the false parenting that we've done so far, or the cruel parenting, we could say, there has been a tendency to deny our right to be really nourished and nurtured. And once you have really felt into the body and recognized if it needs anything to feel nurtured, you can allow the eyes to close, and you can bring one or both hands over the center of the chest, over the heart, this beautiful bridge where you can connect with yourself. And just start with the feeling or the sense that you are just saying hello. Maybe you have never actively spoken to yourself, like deliberately. It's gone on in the back of your head. But to consciously bring your hand to contact with yourself, to say hello. And then just like you would greet a dear friend, when you asked how are you, you would really care, something that would really matter to you. You would want that person to know that when I ask how you are, I want you to know that I mean it. I want to know how you are. And just allow that inner being to respond, noticing whatever sensations or words or images are there. And if you notice that what we could call no sensation, this is just the child expressing to you that she feels numb, or that she doesn't feel that she is allowed to speak or allowed to express her needs. So numb or lack of sensation is not wrong. It's actually very common in this first interaction. Other emotions that can be quite common could be anger, frustration, irritation, like leave me alone, you don't care about me. Because that has been her experience, and just validate it. Whatever you hear or feel or see, validate it. It is true. This child knows herself. She doesn't need to be told by you what to feel or how to feel. She just needs to be given permission to be allowed to feel whatever she feels, and that's your doorway. And again, how are you? And then for most of us, the next sentence or the next communication we're offering is going to be a very gentle apology, not an apology of blaming yourself or blaming her, but simply, I'm sorry that I haven't known how to communicate with you before now. I'm sorry for my lack of parenting skills. I'm sorry for every criticism, for every judgment, for every rejection I may have directed towards you. And just feel how that apology softens your body. It brings you and your inner child closer because you are acknowledging the gap that has been there. And then you can let this beautiful child within you know that you would like to build a relationship with her. You recognize that there may be a journey ahead of you for both of you. But acknowledging to her that it's important to you. And that you really, really want her to shine. And to know that her love is precious and valuable. And it's time now for that love to come out into the world, to be revealed and shared. And then you can ask, is there anything that you need right now? Is there anything I can give you that will make you know and trust, that will allow you to know and trust that I'm serious? And if you hear, for example, your little girl saying, I need a hug, then give her a hug. If she says, I need you to listen to me, then let her know, I will listen to you. Perhaps you'll make a promise like I will buy a special journal. And whenever you want to speak to me, you just remind me of that journal and we can sit and talk together. Perhaps she'll say, I need you to nurture me. I need a hot bath and a massage. Whatever she says, make that commitment to yourself. Yes, I will give that to you. You matter to me. We're going to be a team from now on and we'll work together. And then if you want to, or if you feel ready, you can ask her to give you the sense of a sensation or an image or a sound or a word, something that will, when it comes, it will remind you that your little girl wants to communicate with you, so that she has an easy way to catch your attention. Whenever you think of balloons, for example, if suddenly this strange thought of balloons comes in your mind, you know that's your little girl's cue to say, I have something to say. And then keeping your hand on your heart so that you can stay connected with her. You can gently allow yourself to come back to the space. Keeping her with you, saying thank you for meeting me, for joining me. Knowing that she's always here now. You can use this exercise whenever you need to reconnect. When you open your eyes, you may find that the world looks a little different with her in your being, in your heart, and in your connection.
I can't stop smiling.
She's happy to meet you, huh?
Yeah. She also told me that she wants to play more, and I think I was telling you this before.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely need to find my inner child some games to play.
Yes. I see her like on the trampoline, actually, like kind of physical active.
Yeah,
On the
like a
swing,
physical,
trampoline, and just playing in the water. Yeah.
Actually, I'm planning to go for a walk after our interview to the park, the Greenwich Park.
Yeah.
So I might just get into the swing.
Yeah, perfect. They've got great swings there.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for this, Charu. This is so beautiful.
Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure.
So beautiful. So also share with us your free gift that you will be offering to the women, and it's also related to this, I know.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a 3-video series where we'll go deeper. So we'll just go slowly, because as you can probably feel from this, we can't do too much in one go. So that's why I designed it in this way, so that we'll just do little steps. And for most people, they'll want to just watch one video a day or one video every 2 days and just work with that step. To deepen this connection, I'll start to introduce you to how you can build relationship with this little girl, how you can start to let her reveal her incredible magic to you, because this is where the miracles happen with this process, when you really get to see, like your little girl sharing with you her need to play. This child within you has all of the wisdom that you need to succeed in the world. It's amazing. She really knows who you are and what you're here for, what your gift is, what your sacred work is, and how to share that with the world. So yeah, we're going to dive in just a little bit, not too far, not too fast, so that it's not overwhelming.
Great. I'm looking forward to do that as well.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Charu, for being here, sharing your presence and sharing your gifts in this online temple space. It's such an honor and absolute pleasure.
Such a pleasure. I love this space that you've created. It just is so nourishing and deeply connecting. Like I feel everyone here with us, and I just feel how you create such an inclusive space that really welcomes every expression of the feminine. And that's such a huge gift in this day and age. So thank you.
Charu, I would also like to ask you one last question that I'm asking all the speakers in this online temple space, is about the rising feminine.
Yeah.
What would you say is rising feminine to you in this moment?
The rising feminine for me is really this recognition that for too long we have allowed the world to be out of balance. And we have, even as women, tried to take on masculine characteristics, masculine habits. We've tried to think our way out of situations. We've tried to rationalize our emotions. We've tried to deny the true essence of our nature in favor of what is socially acceptable. And for me, the rising feminine is how we gather together in the feminine to encourage and support and guide each other back to this essential wisdom that we have within us, which is that our emotions, our emotional nature, our inner intuition and instinct is the source of wisdom for the feminine life. And this is such an important gift for each of us.
Absolutely. I can feel all of it, as you say.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
So thank you so much once again, Charu, for your presence in this online temple space.
Thank you. So beautiful to be with you. Namaste.
Namaste.